Hey, welcome to Live with Lynn. So if you're here, say hi. If you're watching the replay, be sure to type replay so I know you were here. So today we're going to talk about steps to help you set proper boundaries. I'm Lynn Huber. Did I say that already? Sorry. Thanks for being here. So anyway, we've been talking about boundaries and how having boundaries in place can help you achieve more happiness and personal satisfaction. So let's look at how to set proper boundaries, right? So boundaries actually begin with you. You might think it's all about telling the other person what you need and want and expect them to adhere to it. But the truth is you have to set boundaries for yourself first and learn how to abide by them. That might mean that you need to better manage your time or implement a stress alleviating regimen in your life. When you have boundaries set, so like say for instance that you're not going to work on Sundays or you're not going to work after 6 p.m. and you abide by it, then you free yourself up to gain strength and personal satisfaction that can empower you when it's time to deal with other people. So if you can't set and respect your own boundaries, then it's hard to ask others to do the same, right? So they'll see how you treat yourself. So, you got to be a good example. You need to treat yourself as though you're worthy of respect and show people how to treat you. So in terms of dealing with people, it's really important to do a really sincere analysis of what it is that you want, how you want to be treated, and what's fair to everyone. I mean, obviously, you don't want to set a boundary that's not fair to someone else because it has to be a win-win for everybody, right? Unless it's directly conflicts with your own goals and values. And if that happens, if that's the case, then I guess you would need to have a discussion with that person and come to a compromise. Or maybe even end result, you could end up having to limit that relationship with that person. But that's probably the exception more than the rule. So really go through and think about what your boundaries should be in terms of time, money, space, whatever boundaries. And so we're going to talk about some of those. But one way to know is think about how you feel when you interact with people. How does your boss make you feel? Are there any boundaries that need to be set in that relationship? How about your coworkers, your best friend? Your parents, your brothers and sisters, your siblings, your neighbors. Ask yourself if any part of the situation is your fault or within your control. So for example, does your mother come over on weekends because she's worried about you because you never answer her phone or emails? Maybe, okay, if you need the space, that's one thing, but maybe it's more of just a simple matter of you being lazy or inconsiderate in responding, maybe not necessarily on purpose, right? But maybe the solution to that might be that you just tweak your schedule a little bit so that you check in with her periodically so that she knows you're okay, right? I mean, it's a pretty simple fix in that case, right? So before setting large boundaries, experiment with small ones. It doesn't have to happen all at once, and let it grow. So just get started small and then work up to the big ones. And so some of the things you might want to consider. So what are your rights? Identify your basic human rights. So here's some examples. Like, I have a right to say no without feeling guilty. I have a right to be treated with respect. I have a right to make my needs as important as others. I have a right to be accepting of my mistakes and failures. I have a right not to meet others' unreasonable expectations of me. So those are all really fair. You have those basic rights. We all do. And so once you identify your rights and you choose to believe in them, you'll find honoring them easier. And when you honor them, you're going to stop, spending energy pacifying or trying to please others who are not honoring them. So think about, what does your gut tell you? Your instincts are really important. They can really make you, really help you to understand what it is that where your boundaries are maybe being crossed or where you need to set some up. So check in with your body. Are you sweating, or are you feeling a tightness in your chest? Are you feeling that pit in your stomach? That maybe those things are telling you that you should look at drawing a boundary there. Something is not happening, or something that's encroaching on your space that maybe you should look at drawing that boundary. So like for instance, if your roommate borrows your new coat, and you say sure, but it's making you feel really uncomfortable, or you're clenching your fists, maybe that's something that you need to clarify what it is that's bothering you, right? So then also think about, what are your values? So your boundaries also relate to your morals, whatever your morals are. So start identifying 10 important values that are important to you, and then maybe narrow that down to like 5 or maybe even 3, right? And reflect on how often those are challenged or treaded on. Reflect about how often you're actually feeling uncomfortable, like those boundaries are being broken or encroached on. And that kind of helps you know, too, if you have strong and healthy boundaries or not. So here's how to draw some lines. Here's how to make it happen. So number 1, be assertive. So if someone sets boundaries with assertiveness, it feels firm but kind, right? So if you don't want to be aggressive, because if you're being aggressive, it's harsh and punishing. But if you're just assertive, that's clear and non-negotiable language without blaming or threatening anybody. So you can use I statements like, I feel blank when blank because blank, right? What I need is blank. So I statements show that you're confident, and they show that you have good boundary setting, and you can express your thoughts and your feelings without worrying about what other people are thinking. So instead of, here's just a couple of examples. So instead of keep your hands off my journal, maybe you could say, I feel violated when you read my journal because I value privacy, and what I need is space, and I know that I know is private to record my thoughts. Or instead of saying, you're making this vacation exhausting and I don't want to do all the things you planned, you could say, I feel overwhelmed when every minute of our vacation is planned. What I need is some time to just relax and see what happens. So you see how you're just basically making your needs known without judgment, without saying anything bad about the other person. Number 2, learn to say no. So it can be daunting to say no sometimes, and no is a complete sentence. So we might be hesitant to say no without offering an explanation, but you don't need to do that. It's not necessary. Sometimes assertiveness isn't needed for boundary setting as much as just personal tolerance for being uncomfortable. So when you can say no without an explanation, like if someone asks for your number or they want to dance with you, you can absolutely say no. Right? Just no thank you. If a coworker asks you to cover for her shift, you can also say no. Say without offering any excuses. Just say, no, sorry, can't do that. Or just no is fine too. Number 3, safeguard your spaces. You can also set boundaries for your stuff, physical and emotional spaces and your time and energy without necessarily announcing it. So you can, your tech devices have all kinds of ways of setting boundaries for you, and you can use those. So you can put your private items in a locked drawer or box. So you can just lock them away so that people, like your journal or something, so people don't have access to them. You can use a password-protected digital journal, so instead of a paper one. You can schedule non-negotiable alone time or time when you're just doing your own thing. You can use passwords or codes or other security features on your tech devices. You can set a cutoff time for answering emails. You can have a timer that will say, okay, I'm going to do emails for 5 minutes or whatever, and then I'm done, right? You can use an autoresponder on your email, like the out of office autoresponder when you're on vacation or when you're out of the office. You can temporarily delete email and messaging apps when you don't want to be contacted. You can use the do not disturb on your phone. You have the ability to turn that on and off. And you can make yourself a promise to not respond to work messages or calls sent to personal accounts, like if you're on vacation from work, right? So as an adult, you have the right to secure tech and accounts to keep your messages private. So another one, number 4, get assistance or support. So defining and asserting your boundaries can get even trickier if you or a loved one lives with a mental illness or depression or anxiety or a history of trauma. Those things can make it harder to deal with and make it harder to set those boundaries and expect them to happen. And so if you really are having a problem, or if someone's causing you a real problem, don't ever hesitate to reach out for help, because maybe a mental health person is who you need. Okay, so boundaries are here to help us, right? We can think of setting boundaries as fortifying our relationships with others rather than building walls to keep people out. Boundaries do another thing for us too, though. They can help clue us in when behavior is harmful. And this is something I just really want to get there, because think about the front door to your home or your apartment. I mean, it's locked. You have a lock there to protect you. But if someone breaks it down, then you know there's a problem, right? That's a serious problem. A lot of times we push our instincts aside because we're convinced that we are the ones that are being unreasonable, or we've been taught not to trust our instincts. And so if something feels consistently uncomfortable or safe, that's a red flag. Abuse may be a problem. And if someone is repeatedly pushing or violating your boundaries, listen to your gut. You guys, I've been there. I have been there. My first husband, he was a lot of things, but he was violent, and he beat me up regularly. And you know what? He always was sorry after, and he would cry, and he would say, "Oh, I won't do it again. I promise I won't do it again." And I wanted to believe him. I mean, I really seriously had some issues where I believed I said for better or for worse, till death do us part, right? And I was taking those vows very serious. But it finally ended up, he almost killed me when he put a hammer through my head. And it just freaks me out when I think about, he could have killed me. He seriously could have killed me when he put that hammer through my head. And you guys, if you're in that kind of a situation, then you seriously need to get some help. You need to get out of it. You need to get that person out of your life. That's a boundary that's non-negotiable. And if you're dealing with this, please get help. Please get that person out of your life. And sometimes that's not even enough, because you need things like restraining orders, or you need safe houses. I don't know. There's all kinds of things, but please get help. I don't care how many times that they say to you, "I promise I'll never do it again." No, you can't believe them. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that rant, but you're in charge of your choices, right? You have the right to change your mind or your direction at any time. That's your prerogative. You don't need to feel like you owe anything to anybody more than you want to give with your free and conscious heart. Anyone who mistreats you, is disrespectful of your wishes, refuses to hear you, and has no intention of changing is trouble. That's trouble with a capital T, and you don't need it. So be ready to walk away without fear or guilt, and don't look back. Okay, so tomorrow we'll go into a little bit more about boundaries. I think this is a really touchy subject. I think it's an important subject. So that's what I have for you. If you have anything to add, please tell me below what your thoughts are on this. And anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.